Welcome to the Shulamite Podcast, an extension of Shulamite Ministries and Shulamite.com, with weekly interviews and teaching with author and speaker Martha Kilpatrick and hosted by John Enslow. This weekly podcast is a way to stay connected to the ministry. So come experience anointed messages, not giving just another method, but a living impartation.
And an all and only has changed my life in so many different ways, and I haven't even... It's like the second time I'm reading it, but I told you, in Joseph, when you talked about Joseph, that's what happened to Joseph. He had to be stripped of everything to just a raw, humbling need of, I only need you. And it completely changed everything in his life. And that's where we're all being brought to, is just a simple simplicity, just the need, all capital need.
Yes,
and for him to be the fulfillment of that need.
Mm-hmm. The only fulfillment. This says Art Katz takes the priestly office of all the blood, that I told you about all the blood. And it's shocking when we brought that man in our Bible study, or where it was, and to really see what he had done. The next thing after they did all the slaughter was that they were silent day and night for a week. One last thing, at the doorway of the tent of meeting, you will remain day and night for 7 days and keep the charge of the Lord, that you may not die. For so I have commanded. So Aaron and his sons did the things. But I never knew that they were required to be silent for 7 days and nights, so that they would not die. I don't even know.
They went into the Holy of Holies. Because they only got to go one time.
One time in a year. Mm-hmm. I guess so. I don't know.
I don't know either.
But I believe that if, like I said, if they were required 7 days, I think grace is what put them.
Mm-hmm.
The grace of God, whatever he's asking of you, is that it'll just, you don't even have to, it's just your yes. That's all he's waiting for, is your yes.
Exactly.
And when you say yes to him, everything else falls into place. It's just like you have a checklist. I believe if you go to him and say, Father, I say yes to you and spending my time, I think it'll just hit you like a ton of bricks. And it'll just happen for you. And you get to experience what Christ experienced when he spent time with the Father. Like when he knew he was going to be crucified, he spent time in prayer. But that grace came to Jesus in knowing what was coming. But grace carried him through all that. And I think the same thing in what you're asking, it'll be the same thing that'll happen to you. I think the checklist will just disappear and you won't even think about that anymore. It'll be...
Well, I was just going to go back to Art. He says it is on this kind of situation that the outlandish phenomena of God's presence is going to be on. Did that make sense? Mm-hmm. Things, miracles, manifestations, clouds, that it is this waiting that will call that forth. It's not so much that I'll get what I need automatically, but he will get what he needs just by our availability. And that's incredible because Art says and apparently he experienced it because he didn't write about anything he didn't know, but it's these phenomenal meetings that come upon us if we will wait like that.
What happens is we become a vessel.
Right.
If our flesh is so
dead, gone,
then actually we can be occupied with something other than ourselves.
And see, I'm on the thing I'm on is the marriage that Jesus, about the pots, that they fill the pots with water, and when they poured them out, it was wine. That speaks to me of the nothingness and the quietness, and we don't make anything, but when we let him have that, he pours it in.
I remember Martha saying to me early on, and I could not understand it for the longest time, but she said, just have a cup of coffee with him. he's just happy if you'll sit with him and have a cup of coffee. And I thought, really? I couldn't fathom that. That was just so, but it's him being a person.
Uh-huh.
See, he's not a to-do list. He's a person. And when you realize he's a person and not your to-do list, it just, for me, that I just put it in my terms. That's how I see it. It's
good. I got it.
It changes everything.
Slap me in the face with it.
And I even think of a little child. We have to become a little child. A little child just simply wants to be held. They don't necessarily want you to do anything for them. They want you to just hold them.
Be present.
Be present.
But I think that right now, everything in our world is trying to dissuade us from that very place.
Yes. Pull us.
Pull us.
Pull us.
And I can be pulled just by the sheer work, by the sheer experience, just by everything that's going on. All these things are like pick. And it's pull. It is pull. And I have a real hard time doing that presence. And that's why, I've made the choice. I've made the yes, like Kyle said.
He has to work out the yes.
Yeah, he did. And
He can work out the yes.
because all this new situation came in, I had yes, but all these new situations, and he had to come and grab my face, grab my ears, and say, I want your face. Mm-hmm. Oh, you do.
And I think from day to day, I don't know about the rest of you, but I don't know where I am from day to day. I don't have a clue when I get up.
It's the beautiful thing about facing him just in the moment. I was such a person that would stress about weeks out, months out, the year out, 2 years from now, like where I always told myself, and it's the lie, like there's lies about yourself that you tell yourself. I used to tell myself I was nothing. I would be nobody because that's what the world told me, and I would do nothing, and I would always look, well, when I'm 30 years old, I'm just going to be nothing. And he had to transform that and even be that to me, to just see him for whatever that moment, when you wake up, whatever you feel, that's the moment. Just face him in the moment, just one day at a time. And even if you have to break it down to just hour at a time, he's willing to. He's willing to be to you every minute, every second, every whatever it is. It's just the moment. And that completely changed how I saw things, and was even able for my yes to even be yes. Mm-hmm. Because if I looked at this situation and I tried to use my brain to figure out, well, what am I going to do there? What am I going to do? How am I going to affect these other people that I'm around? Am I going to be a burden on them? That's not my responsibility. My responsibility is just to face them in the moment. The opportunity came, and he was the yes. He became the yes. He's worked out the yes. And it's just moment to moment with him.
You'll appreciate this, John. Y'all will too, probably. There seems to be a conspiracy, a calculated campaign to drive the consciousness of priesthood from the church.
That's it, exactly.
We are inundated with sound and noise, multimedia, displays, concerts, the sensual ear and eye thing that not only has to be heard, it has to be first and felt. God is yet calling us to be the priests of the holy place. If our speaking has anything to do with releasing the Word of God from heaven, then it can only come from having heard what He commanded us to bring to the holiest place of all, which is a place of silence. That's what you were saying. And I have been praying for a prophetic word for, you may have, I said it into your ear. I hugged him, and I heard the Lord say, "This is a great man." But I never knew the priestliness is simply waiting.
That's beautiful.
And of course.
Because we can do nothing.
Right.
We really can't.
We have to bring heaven down to earth.
And that's
by waiting. That's
what he taught me as an early young believer. There's nothing to do until you wait. You get it. You find it if you just wait. Mm-hmm. And I waited. Some people I'd have a wait for 6 months to hear one thing about them. But he taught me to live You do nothing but that you don't wait for it.
We hope you've enjoyed the Shulamite podcast. For all the latest from Shulamite Ministries, please visit us at shulamite.com, where you'll find Martha's daily devotions, posts from getalongwithgod.com, and the online library of all of Martha's writings. At shulamite.com, downloading the free Shulamite app is easy, and livingchristianbooks.com is only a click away. Thank you for joining us on this journey to discover a God worth knowing.